Housekeeping.
housekeeping. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
So, but there's an intro. So go down to the bottom and there's
Okay.
like a progress bar. Click
Yeah.
the first white bar.
I think she
Yep,
deleted
there you
it.
go. Okay. All right. Hey, good morning, everyone. Our marketing rep is on jury duty this week. So she helped us with this presentation on the fly. So it's not in a typical format that we do. So, anyway, we're going to do a couple things that we don't typically do because the content is probably a very charged topic. We're going to actually open it up for questions where we'll unmute your line and let us know. So, how you let us know that you have a question, we'll do it in two segments. There's a consent form section, and then there's a Health Sherpa section. So, raise your hand, and at the end of that um, consent form section, we'll open it up. Raise your hand, and I know you have a question, and I'll unmute your line, and you could talk to us. Or if you have a question, you can always type it into the question box. It's like a message box with a question mark in it. So that's what we're doing today. Welcome. I'm glad you're all here. Next slide, Jeff.
Let me go back.
It, So hey, if you don't know Jeff and I already, then you haven't been around as long as Jeff's 18 years, or I don't know, my 10 years or so, 14 years in the business. So anyway, we're really glad to have you. If you don't have our numbers, if you don't have our email, which the names I'm seeing on the list all have our phone numbers. So use them whenever you need them. That's what we're here for. That's why you contract with Cornerstone. So thanks very much for that. Next slide. All right, so today's topic, obviously, and we have so many people. This is a grand call, so it's really, really important. It's about the consent form and how Health Sherpa makes the renewal process so much easier for you. Some of you may already be doing it, and some of you might still be using healthcare.gov. So this is to really to get you to change your ways and make your life easier is why we're talking about this today. So keep going, Jeff. Next slide.
Okay. I'll take over. I'll kick it off.
Very good.
So, guys, thank you so much, Brad, and thank you for joining us. We did this last year, but this year has a little more emphasis. Um, the government is starting to really address this consent form. They're becoming more serious. Why are they asking for it? Why are they asking for it? Well, in a word, Joe Namath. So, as everybody remembers, most of you do Medicare, and you remember a couple of years ago, the you know the phone calls, the TV ads, um, Joe Namath going on and talking about Medicare, you're getting free Medicare. And as a result, a lot of people were confused. A lot of people bought Medicare plans that weren't suited to them, and brokers lost out on it. Brokers lost clients that way. Well, the same thing's happening with ACA, Obamacare. There's a lot of unscrupulous uh, actors. There's a lot of unauthorized activity going on. People are being lured into ACA plans that don't fit them. They're getting lured into ACA plans that don't even have coverage in their county. It's an epidemic. It's a really big problem in Florida and Texas, and it's also becoming a problem in Ohio. Essentially, through things like social media and TV ads, people are lured into buying from another broker because they're being offered a bunch of freebies that aren't necessarily there. They're telling people, hey, you can get $6,000. Go out to YouTube sometime and you'll see these ads just kind of filter in the process. And that's kind of the source of this. And it's a real problem. I talked to a broker, I think he was in Utah. He's not with Cornerstone, but he essentially lost almost his entire book of business. It was roughly 150,000 in revenue that he lost So it's a real problem, and the government wants to crack down on this, and they want to crack down on it now. And I'll advance to the next slide.
Yeah, and guys, we
And
know it's not you because all of my time in the business and Jeff's, you all brokers in the field run their business very compliantly because you're the most worried that you're going to get stepped on. The telemarketers, they don't care. They're all churn and burn and they keep going through their list. So we know you like to do things compliantly. That's why we're emphasizing this whole overview of the
right,
consent form. Just like scope of appointment, it protects you. So if you get that audit call from CMS, it's documented. You have their consent, where these others are not getting consent by and large. They're just getting
fantastic.
the commission for as long as they keep it. All right, carry on, Jeff. Sorry,
Yeah,
I had to interject.
no, no, I appreciate the added emphasis there because it's kind of like a scope of appointment. I never thought of it that way. It's kind of like the scope of appointment. It's another layer that they've added here, and I'm sure many of you have seen the form already. And by all means, fire away with questions in the question box. We're going to get to those in a little bit. But here is the document. This is really like a sample doc. Um, if you want, you can just strip off the top header, keep the expiration date in there, but you can just strip off the top header because this initially is a sample doc, but you can essentially use the wording for your own purposes. So the consumer or their
And we will
authorized.
send you, yeah,
Mhm.
and we will send you actually a Word document of this that you can edit that top. You could put in your logo, save it as a PDF, and then be able to send it out to your clients when you're having those conversations. They could sign it, send it back to you, and then you'll see in a little while what you can do with it to make your life easier. So yeah, we'll send you something that you can edit. That's this exact document.
Yeah. Um, so the consumer or their authorized rep, must produce this. It's not like, just automatic like it used to be, that it was sort of a part of the process. You have to create this document or, have the software create it for you. You'll see in a bit that Sherpa does it too. But it doesn't have to necessarily be this doc. Some agents are using a phone call, like you do the same thing with Medicare. You have a phone call, record the call. Um, you can use a text message. I've seen this a little bit where, they create a text message with this stuff on it and they send it to the client and the client responds. You can send it to them in an email. You can even do like a plain old regular document, just a regular written document. And you also have to offer the consumers a process in which they can opt out, rescind the consent, and the purpose, the duration of the consent, all provided by the consumer or their authorized rep. And just be sure that all of that is baked into this document here. It's all spelled out here. And like Brad said, we're providing you a document. It's actually in the materials um, drop down in your um, dashboard from today's presentation and in the
Well,
follow-up
actually,
email.
it's this form, which is a PDF, and we can't really change it with a CMS
Right,
documentation. So,
right, right.
so somebody on this call has seen the document, which I'm going to share. So, yeah, just
Okay.
customize what we send you in the follow-up email, probably tomorrow. Uh, so, yeah,
Okay.
Jeff, carry on. Sorry.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about the review of the accuracy. That's another component to this. You want to review the accuracy. You want to go back one screen. So it's not just getting consent, their permission. It's also about the client attesting to the accuracy. And so they need to do this as well. They need to um, state that they have uh, provided accurate information, and that's all a part of the process. You can't fake it. So the client has to attest to that as well. That's another aspect of this. And just to dive into that a little more, you need to provide and maintain the documentation stating consumer or their authorized rep has reviewed and confirmed the application information that is accurate, and you need to produce it. You need to create it. It needs to be done. So here's more important information. Um, you have to state the date that it's reviewed, the name of the consumer or their authorized rep, an explanation of the attestations at the end of the eligibility application, and then obviously the name of the assisting agent, broker, or rep broker. Okay, and you got to keep this on hand for 10 years. Okay, that's the point of emphasis here. You have to keep this on hand for 10 years. I know, more regulation, but I think in most cases people are using electronic data, and they can store that in their hard drive. Okay. And then I'm going to just go through a couple more of these things, um, and then we'll dive into the document a little bit, and then we'll take some questions. It's important that we safeguard PII. Okay, that's personal information. Okay, and this is a typo. That should say PII. So personal identifiable information can only be used for the purpose of described earlier. In other words, completing the marketplace eligibility for a qualified health plan, subsidized plan, or CSR. Can't be used outside the scope. Okay, so that's kind of a public service announcement. Okay, so if you haven't paid attention to anything up to this point, now is the time to pay attention. This is the actual form. Um, like I said earlier, it's in your materials. You can, cut off the top of the CMS border. That's so you can personalize it. This is more of a sample doc, but rest assured you can use every word in this document for your purposes. And I'm wondering if I can blow this up a little bit. Can you guys read it? I'm going
Yeah,
to
it's
try to
pretty
blow it
small
up
on
a little.
my end, so
We're in Canvas, so I'm kind of like, is this any better? Not really. But
no, it's not
uh,
blowing up the
I can I
content.
can
It's
rate.
only blowing up your screen.
I
We'll
got you.
send it.
Okay.
We'll send
Yeah.
it.
So
But the last paragraph is kind of the most important, right? That's where they're giving consent to you until they revoke it. And in that line that you see there, it's how can they revoke it? Via email, via phone. So if it was me, I'd put phone. So if they want to revoke uh, your consent, then having them call you would be way better because there's a reason they're revoking it, and somebody else is in their ear telling them they can do something better for them. So that's another way to maintain your client, right? It gives you
right,
another opportunity to talk to them when it seems like they want to be talked to.
right. So I'll give you a couple seconds to look at this. And we're putting so much emphasis on it this year because the feds are really cracking down. If you don't have one of these consent forms, consent review forms on file, they could possibly, um, lift your NPN off the application. So I'm going to get to this in a little bit, but they're going to ask you to have it uploaded with the application at some point in the application process, and that's all part of the renewal and enrollment process with programs like HealthSherpa and others. So this is the form, and I'm sure people have questions, and I'd like to see what people have to say
Yeah, they do.
before we go into
So
HealthSherpa.
yeah, so Gary is asking, can we use the plus button at the right to enlarge that? Yes, you can, Gary. Try it out. Not sure how it's going to work because it's small content within the PowerPoint. So it might be hard. Jeff just did it, but it just enlarged the program, not the document. So we're going to send you this document and another document that you can customize.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's that. I'm glad you can hear.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so
Let me.
who else is asking a question? Somebody that we know, Jeff is asking if you're a
Yeah.
telemarketer, and the answer is no, he's not. He's just Jeff, good old Jeff. Jennifer Allen asked a great question. So stating app accuracy can be done in the initial attestation, or do we need to? No, this document, as you'll see it, Jennifer, includes that accuracy because that's what you're talking about, right? When you're going to say
Hmm.
you want them to sign this document or they need to sign this document, it is to guarantee that accuracy, and you're going to review it with them.
Hmm. Yeah, and may I add, she brings up a very good point on how, in good faith, can you attest to the accuracy until they've completed the app? And so what some agents are doing, they're just breaking this up into two parts. They're asking that first half at the outset, and then they're asking the accuracy at the end. Okay, and this is particularly important if you're doing a recorded call. Um, so she brings up a very good point, but there's the ability to address both aspects in the form and in the HealthSherpa process that I'm going to show you in a bit. Okay.
Great. There's no other questions, Jeff. So if you want to
Okay.
get to the
Let's
Health Sherpa
just.
part, that's cool.
I'm here if you need me. Just
All right. Yeah.
fire away with your questions. So I'm going to just touch on HealthSherpa for a little bit.
Yes, Steve, it
So you're
is.
wondering,
The form is
you're
in Health
wondering.
Sherpa as well.
I'm sorry.
I was just answering Steve's question.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's in Health
Okay.
Sherpa. You can download it there. We have it in a couple places on our resource center, which I'm going to give you a little preview of that when Jeff's done. So I'll give you another homework assignment for you all to do. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
The fact of the matter is most people use a enrollment process or an enrollment program like HealthSherpa, and that's what you should be using. You really shouldn't be using healthcare.gov because that's a consumer site. So they want us to be using enrollment platforms like HealthSherpa or the cloud. I prefer Sherpa. I didn't mean to make this into an infomercial for HealthSherpa, but they seem to be on top of it more so than some of the other ones, and it's free. So
And
you're
it's the
welcome to use
largest
other,
for a reason.
yeah, you're welcome to use other enrollment platforms as well. I know a lot of you use the cloud, which is good, but it's all a part of the process here. And let's just start about. I'm talking about HealthSherpa and the renewal process because the consent form is also a part of this. So I want to just switch gears slightly and talk about HealthSherpa and its renewal process for you because we're going to be getting into that here in a couple months. And you'll see a renewal feature on HealthSherpa starting in October. Okay, so and I wanted to point out that HealthSherpa does feature this um, consent and review form in it. Okay, and that's this slide here. And as you can see, it's baked into the whole process. And there's three buttons at the bottom. Okay, those three buttons at the bottom enable you to uh, upload or enable you to address the issue with the consent form. And you hit continue.
Jeff,
And
what are those three options that it gives? Because everybody can't
okay,
see this.
you can't read
So
it.
what are the what are the three
Okay,
options?
and I'll read it to you. How would you maintain your proof of consent? You'll email the digital consent form to the client. You'll upload the consent files to HealthSherpa, or you already have proof of consent in your own records. So those are the three methods. Those are the three ways that Sherpa addresses this. What's more, they have included a copy of the consent form right here in a PDF format, just like the one that we're sending you. So they've got a hard copy of the consent form in a PDF format. So HealthSherpa does a really good job addressing this whole issue, this
Topic.
whole predicament, topic, whatever you want to call it. Rest assured, if you're just coming into this and you're concerned, HealthSherpa has got a process to address this, so everybody is on point, everybody gets credit for these plans, and everybody
Yeah.
is compliant. So,
Yeah, and just
um,
really quickly, Steve, I didn't see the rest of your message, so I wanted to address it right now. Yes, you have access for that remaining 9 years on HealthSherpa to retrieve that document. And just in those three choices, it sounds like to me yes, you emailed it to your client, but them keeping the consent form, I don't see that as being an effective use. So I would think option 2 or 3 is probably the better use so that you have access to it. Yes, you can always send them a copy, right? Because you sent it to them, they signed it, they can keep that copy. That's like, remember those carbon copy receipts? You get one and you give them one and you keep one, so they have it already. You need to keep it in in a place that is specifically built for storing it. So yeah, Steve, thanks for sending that. Sorry I didn't see in the condensed format. Yep.
okay, just some more features about HealthSherpa, and then I'll toss it to Brad. We like HealthSherpa because they're the industry leader. Uh, Over 10 million lives have been enrolled. 45,000 agents use HealthSherpa, and 4,500 agencies use HealthSherpa. The majority of broker submitted apps are through HealthSherpa. Again, I didn't mean to make this into an infomercial about HealthSherpa, but I
But
work
it
with these
is.
guys all the time. It is, and it's free. Okay, here's some more added features of HealthSherpa. Um, you can track client activity, which I think is really cool, and has so much to it. So just a couple more slides here on HealthSherpa, and we're going to talk about the renewal process on HealthSherpa. So again, this will appear in, let's say, September, October. And when you go out to your dashboard, okay, everybody logs in. The first thing they see are clients. Um, and then come October, you'll see this button here. It'll say renewal email, okay? This will enable you to send the renewal, a bulk renewal email out to as many clients as you select here, okay? So they'll get a renewal email that will essentially announce that you're coming up for renewal and you need to take action. And this is more consumer driven. This is where the consumer would open this up. This is where the consumer would, go in, adjust their income information themselves. And this is where they will also select the same plan, a similar plan, or a completely different plan. And they will also have the consent form baked into this that you are the agent. So you will be compliant. You don't have to do anything. It's baked into the process if they have this passive renewal. I call it passive renewal. In this consumer driven renewal process, your information's in there. You don't have to go hunt down a consent form. You don't have to do that. You do it that way. And then the other way to do it, and the preferred way to do it, um, okay, this is more to the old process. And then this is where you can go in and begin a renewal and do the renewal yourself with the agent. I'm sorry, with the client. And this is the broker driven renewal process. And this is where you'll go search the client, Jane Esposito, and then you'll see renew plan up here. So you're doing a broker driven renewal process here. And you will have to, verify the income, obviously. You'll breeze through the app again. You'll have to go through the app again. You will need to, ask the questions and whatnot. And you will need to attest to the, consent and accuracy. But, by and large, you can just send them that form, and that will, um, you know, that will complete the requirement. You just need to get it back from them, so you can
Yeah, and
upload it
that
here.
bulk.
You need
Think
to
about that
upload
bulk.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Think about that bulk email opportunity. That's just another touch
Hmm.
point. So they know that they're going to need to do something like when they were working and maybe had coverage. Well, hey, it's annual renewal time. or enrollment season for their work. So it's the same thing. So it's great. It's a great touch point, and I know you like to touch them personally. So you can say, hey, did you get the email? So you can let them self-serve, or you can help those that really, and you know who those clients of yours are who aren't adept at these things still in the modern age of computer for the last 35 years. So yeah, it's a great option. Besides just you being involved.
Great,
Carry
great.
on, Jeff.
So
Sorry.
yeah, no worries. So I anticipate most agents will be doing this agent renewal process here, and we're here to help. You got a question? Call us. We do this all the time.
Yeah. And the
And
other great thing, guys, for using HealthSherpa, Jeff, and I forgot to say it a few slides ago, is Jeff and I can't help you with healthcare.gov. But when you do HealthSherpa via our special link that we can basically get into Health Sherpa and help you with problems that you may have, or call in the big guns at Health Sherpa to help you as well. But we can see some of the things. So Jeff pointed that out to me yesterday. That was real, again, another service. So was that the end, Jeff, or was there
no,
another slide that it wanted you to?
we want to just kind of open things up, and I want to answer a couple questions, and then I
Yeah, let
want,
me go back to
if Brad, you
questions.
found something out there, and then maybe you can show us that. But before we do that, before I go to Brad, and I'm going to toss things to Brad in a second, I wanted to answer a couple more questions. Jennifer asked if we have consent forms on file from last year that are outdated. Do you recommend we also attach uh, to Health Sherpa at renewal? Um, well, get an updated consent form. We're asking that at least you change the date. And they ask you to put in a date for these consent forms. Be good to yourself. Give it 18 months. You know, don't do it like 6 months or even a year. Give yourself some room to work with that client. And if they're happy with 18 months, which most are, that'll be fine. That at least gives you uh, the flexibility to work on it 2 consecutive years. I hope
Yeah.
that makes sense, Jennifer. And another question, Ernie had a
Jennifer has a
question about
previous question. Jennifer had actually an earlier
two
question
questions.
about, she has
Oh,
actually three, so she's being a great
she's got
contributor today.
three.
So thank you. So
Yeah,
I
okay,
have
head of the
clients who have
class.
submitted. Yeah, yes. Read,
Yeah,
it's about the fourth one down. Read it so that you have to
okay,
expand it because there's
okay.
lots more in there.
I have clients who have submitted required documents on their own rather than giving it to me, but Health Sherpa never updates it.
Because they
Um,
can't update something that your clients did. So it's always better for you to be in control, Jennifer. Yes, they have that copy. But you driving the bus is always better uh, than them. So if you could just ask them to send you a copy, because you can always go back into Health Sherpa and add it, right? When you go into your client profile. That way you know it's there, and sort of you can rest easy. So Ernie has a great question about Coursera and ICRA, Jeff.
okay, fantastic, Ernie. Let me just address that. And this is something exciting that's really going to really invigorate the individual market. ICRAs are individual coverage health reimbursement arrangements, and QShares are their twin sister. Those are sort of, I don't know what those letters stand for, but it's an HRA, kind of like an ICRA, but on a smaller scale. So, and essentially, it's the ability to offer individual plans in a group format, and we have trainings on these as well. And essentially, you'll be selling ACA plans to group employees. Okay, and the real need for ICRA is for those groups that are not offering any group right now. Usually, smaller companies are doing ICRAs. So it's exciting. You're wondering, well, how does the employee pay for it? Do they get a subsidy? On the ICRA, they don't really get a subsidy, but they're going to get a stipend from the employer. I don't want
Some
to get
people are
too deep
dropping
into
off
it, but
real
they
quick.
can
Yes, it is recorded, and I'll show you
yeah,
here in a minute. Yeah.
yeah. But just rest assured, ICRA is baked into every application now. It's addressed. And so you do a renewal, you will see questions about ICRA. Thank you, Ernie. So with that, I'm going to toss things to Brad. He's going to show us something he found out on our website. Okay.
Well, we already knew about it technically.
We already knew. Of course we did.
But I wanted
Yeah.
I wanted to add, because obviously those of you on the call are getting the email, you're joining the calls, but every one of these trainings that we do, um, is recorded. So for those of you, you're on the call, you made time for the call, but at the really busy time of year when you can't and you wanted to hear a carrier training, it's recorded. And I'm going to show you how to get there. And this is also a recheck for those of you who are like, wow, I didn't really even know that I had an account on the Cornerstone website. So this is, you go to crnstone.com. If you don't think you're getting this, just click on this green join us button. And when our marketing person sees there, she's going to say, oh, you're already a contractor or appointed broker through Cornerstone. She's just going to send you your login credentials so you have it. But what can you do here? So there's a lot you can do here, but the one thing that we really wanted to talk about is you go over to this Resource Center tab, you click on Webinar Series, and it should be coming up here in a second. And look, this recording will now be in front of Oscar probably as of tomorrow. So you'll be able to go in and look at this. This one was a pretty simple one, but when it comes to carrier trainings, those are the ones that are maybe really important. But the one thing that I wanted to point out, and this is your homework assignment, if you're new to using HealthSherpa, is it looks like about the fourth row down is this HealthSherpa training that we did. I think it was back in April. We've actually
Right.
done two this year with Amber Dotson, our HealthSherpa rep, who we work with. She did one in January, and we asked her to come back and do one because she did a lot of other things in the first one. And this one, although there are some additional things, she really walks through the step by step process of doing an enrollment and also a renewal, right? So when you do a renewal, it's clicking the Renew Now button. And then when you do that, you're essentially reviewing the app again. The good thing that Health Sherpa does, for those of you that don't know it, that healthcare.gov doesn't do, is all of your client's data stays in there, right? So you don't have to retype anything unless you're changing it. Healthcare.gov, it's like rewriting a whole new app all over again. They don't have their name, they don't have their address. So this is a plug for using Health Sherpa. And I'm sure a lot of the other EDEs or enhanced direct enrollments do the same. But again, for all the reasons we've talked about, the joys of Health Sherpa, it's here. So you click on the link and then let me know if you can see this. I think you could see this. Here's that training that we did with Amber a couple of months ago. So yeah, you just click it on. It's a YouTube video. So I started it about 5 minutes in to get rid of all the technical issues.
But thank you so much for
And
attending today's
and you
HealthSherpa
could
Agent
hear
Account
the
Training
audio
partnered with
of
Cornerstone.
like this of
As your
Amber
teammates here
doing the training. So you could do this with any of the trainings, gang. We could even do it. So you wanted to know about one of the newest players that we have. Where did it go? Antidote Health, who's going to be expanding. There's going to be actually a lot of carrier expansion for 2025, gang. So you can go out here and you can listen to the antidote training or the Ambetter training. So, we do these usually twice a year. We do them during the prior to the open enrollment season. And then we usually go back and repeat them for new agents during the spring. So it's all here. It's all on YouTube. Um, so yeah, just make sure that you go out and if you're not already seeing these, to go ahead on the resource center. Why can't I get to the resource center? Sorry, I lost it. I always lose it. So yeah, it's there. Geez, Jeff, I can't get back to it. Maybe here. Yeah. It's here. So everything's there. I don't want to keep you. I already see people dropping off. They maybe only had a half an hour. Jeff, did I miss anything I wanted to talk to everybody
No,
about?
I think we've touched on everything. Fantastic. We're here to help. That's
Yeah.
the last thing we got to emphasize. I do have a couple more questions I want to answer. Christina brings up a good inquiry. Gotta leave. Is this being recorded? Absolutely. You'll find it out here on the resource page. Once more, you'll get a copy of it um, later this week. So Ernie helps us out. Thank you so much, Ernie.
Yes.
QSE, QSHERA, whatever it's called, is the Qualified Small Employer Health Reimbursement Arrangement. That's kind of like the ICRA that I was talking about. So that's kind of
So it was the
ICRA's little
original one
brother.
built. Yeah.
Yeah.
So QSERA was the original HRA enabled platform that was built, and then ICRA came into prominence. And ICRA is more often written than QSERAs are these days. So if you think about it, when you do your FFM certification, the shop, QSERA is kind of like the shop, right? Or very similar to, just has its own designation. It's a little bit more complicated than an ICRA. So again, we did a training and we touched on QSERAs. If you could still see my screen, where did they go? ICRA. Here, selling ICRAs. So we touched on QSERA. So everything's there, gang. Just take a look. But yeah, we appreciate uh, keeping us honest and remembering everything that's in our head. So thanks for that, Ernie. I knew it
Fantastic.
was
We're 10
qualified.
after
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, we're going to let everybody go.
And
Everybody has a lot of certifications to do and such.
yeah, fantastic. So there's more to come. I do want to point out, more webinars are slated for this month and next month. So keep an eye out for communications from Jess and the marketing team. Brad, any final thoughts?
I have none.
Okay. With that,
Right.
we'll
Yeah.
bid
Gary,
everybody
yeah, or
adieu.
Ernie, you're exactly correct. Ernie's actually probably selling QSERAs since he knows a lot about them. So thanks for sharing your knowledge, Ernie, and your expertise.
Everybody, have a great day.
You got it. Take care, everybody. See you again soon. Bye.